Welcome to Blueprint Boost for Contractors, the podcast that's your go-to source for unlocking the secrets to successful marketing, gaining valuable insights, and growing your contracting business with less stress. Your host is David Brooks, and he's thrilled to be your guide on this journey. As a seasoned expert in the contracting industry, David understands the challenges you face. That's why each episode is crafted to provide you with actionable strategies and proven blueprints to boost your business to new heights.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the podcast. I'm your host, David Brooks, powered by Contractor Rhino, your go-to source for all your digital marketing and accounting needs in the trades. For this episode, we have a special guest with us, and I'll allow her to introduce herself.
Thank you. My name is Grace Shehadeh. I work for Lennox Industries. I'm a territory manager in Raleigh, North Carolina. Super excited to be talking with David today. So thanks for having me on.
No, thanks for joining us, Grace. We appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
All right. So you're at Lennox, but how'd you get there? Tell us a little bit about your journey and how you got started.
Yeah, of course. I love hearing how people get into the HVAC industry just because everyone has a different path there, and it's usually a pretty creative story. But I did my bachelor's in marketing and master's in business. So straight out of college, I thought I was going to go into some type of sports marketing. And approaching graduation of my master's, I realized really fast that maybe marketing isn't what I wanted to do. So I had heard a lot about Lennox and the culture and how it's a great place to work. And so I looked into something that they had called the Graduate Sales Academy, where Lennox invests in 5 to 10 new graduates and shows them the ins and outs of the industry for 6 months. So I relocated to Houston, Texas, spent 6 months at the counter interacting with contractors, doing some inside sales, traveling to corporate to learn about the HVAC industry, and then, of course, Lennox more specifically. That way, after that 6 months, we have an opportunity to kind of figure out where our place is in the industry, whether that's, in the product department, marketing, something at corporate. But dealing through relationships at the counters in that 6 months, I realized that I want to be more customer facing. I really enjoyed the relationships I created in Houston. So that's where I landed a territory manager spot here in Raleigh. So I've been here for about 2 years. I've been supporting this market and I've created some great relationships. So that's where I am now. And I'm looking forward to see where the industry takes me in the future.
Nice. That's an excellent background into how you got to where you are today.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. So, in your position, what constitutes exceptional customer service?
That's a loaded question, David. We're just gonna jump right into it, I
Jump right
guess.
in.
Yeah, I think everyone provides customer service differently. I mean, obviously there's different resources we can provide as a manufacturer and distributor, but I think there's also some personal relationships and service you can provide, as an individual. So, just for me, a couple of key points is I treat my customers like family. I know that sounds really cliche, but my customers and I have a great relationship. So something as simple as just picking up the phone, even if it's after hours, or going above and beyond to make sure their employees feel supported, whether it's, through training or just a conversation or just calling them to check in, just little things like that. I think customer service is just a way to show someone that you're invested in their success, and then ultimately you're paid back with your own success.
I love that breakdown. When you think about customer service, you think it could be defined in a flurry of different ways, and uh, makeup and the DNA of it is such a multifaceted approach. And I
Sure.
think that, over the time, you get better at customer service. You kind of like sharpen your toolbox. And what are some things early on that to the point to where you are now that you would have told yourself back then?
That's a good question. Obviously being newer to the trades and, HVAC is changing every single day through refrigerant chains, different codes. I mean, if you move to different parts of the country, there could be different expectations or rules, regulations. So I would say when I first came into my role, I kind of had to have a pep talk with myself of like, you're not going to know everything, and my customers don't expect me to know everything. So, um, I think that's something I had to tell myself, hey, just answer your phone. You don't have to know the answer to everything, but as long as you're willing to find the answer and help people out, that'll lead to better customer service.
Yeah, I love that. When you think about it, I think sometimes us as people, we feel that, we have to always have that answer ready or the
Sure.
solution to the problem. And, it may pressure you to feel like, hey, I'm just going to blurt out something that I think is right or right, or I think that's heading in the
Yeah,
direction. And sometimes just acknowledging it and letting the person know that you're going to be doing your due diligence to look into it further, and just being able to be there for them and support them.
100%. And it's so funny because in my interview, I was in a panel interview and they'd asked me, are you a morning or evening person? And in the back of my head, I was like, why are you asking that? I mean, I really don't know if I'm a morning or evening person. I guess it kind of depends on what I'm doing. And they said, well, it's important that you kind of have your phone on you morning and evening, or, you're just committed because your customers are going to need you and expect a level of service beyond your 8 to 5, right? So I think I took that and ran with it, knowing, hey, I may not know the answer to everything, but as long as I'm willing to help and I'm responsive and my customers know they can rely on me, that in itself will deliver a service that maybe others aren't willing to do.
Yeah, I love that. Really offering the service that others may not be willing to offer or to be able to provide, makes, your job special, and the experiences that you provide for your customers, exceptional and special too as well. And when we think about relationships, I think one of the things that's often missed is each individual customer relationship. Can you go into that a little bit? Because, Bob might not be the same as Joe, Ashley might not be the same as Mary.
Sure. Yeah. I think so. I'll take a step back and say all the relationships I've created, I'm sure all the other salespeople in the world have created, are genuine and true connections. So it's not like, oh, I have this special sales tactic of how to create these relationships or anything, because you're right, everyone is so different, and every relationship is different. But I think something I do is when I meet with a new customer or potential prospect, or maybe a new employee that I haven't gotten to meet yet with an existing customer, is just, how did you get into this industry? Like, tell me about yourself, tell me about your family. I learn about my customers' kids, and are their kids in sports, and oh, where's your favorite vacation place? So you know, my job isn't as transactional as people may think, just because we're just always constantly connecting with people, and every customer is different. What makes them tick is different, is what we like to say. So I think you're spot on. Every single customer is different.
Mm. Yeah, so and with the makeup of every customer being unique individuals, how does that listening to their feedback help you even more develop and fine tune that relationship?
That's a good question. Um, I would say so often when you come into a sales role, you're always thinking, oh, I have to bring, this insight and these solutions, and that's probably part of the job, right? But I think people often miss that we can actually learn from our customers. And that will help other customers. So for example, when I first got into this role and into the industry, I had never been on an HVAC installation. So one of the feedback I got from my customers was like, hey, obviously you may not know as much as we do on the technical side. How about you spend a day with us on an install? And so I went and did that, and I learned from them. So I think feedback is a good piece. That way you can sharpen your skills, and maybe I learned something at, Bob's HVAC shop that I can take to, someone in a different market and say, hey, well, I have a customer that does this, and this is what's working with them. You know, is this a solution you could provide, or maybe this work for you? So, yeah, I think feedback's a good thing.
Yeah, feedback is so vitally important, and being able to take that and to be able to implement it. Like you said, coming out and being able to see a day in the life is also helpful. And with that, how do you anticipate customers' needs before they even arise?
That's a good question. I think I know I keep saying you have good questions, but I really mean it. You're asking some on the money questions. Um, I think as you get more familiar with any industry or trade that you're in, you kind of have like KPIs or certain things that you look for. I typically like to look at someone's website. Do they need marketing help, or what I think is marketing help? Are they offering utility rebates, or are they offering certain discounts, or are they missing a vital piece of information? So I think as my time goes on in my role, you start to pick up on things on what makes someone successful or an area of improvement. So does that kind of answer your question?
Yeah, no, that helps
Okay,
answer my question.
perfect.
Mhm. And with that, over the course of your career, when looking back, can you think of a really good experience that you had being able to provide that A1 customer service?
Sure. Let me think. I consider this kind of small, but I'll share it anyways. But I think, typically the majority of my time is spent with management in the trade. So, sales manager, fat contractors. But I think I do a really good job focusing on the technicians, the installers, the every single employee matters, the parts runners, the warehouse managers. So something I did back in the summer, as you know, it gets really hot, and that's when installers are out, they're sweating, they're thirsty, they're in 130-degree attics. But me and my field technical consultant went and loaded up my car with a bunch of coolers of ice cream and Gatorades. And I asked all my contractors in the area to send me where all their installations were happening that day. And so we drove all around the city, just stopping at each installer's site and said, hey, come out, we got ice cream for you and Gatorade, and we just want to say thank you for everything you do during, really hot or cold weather. And it was really cool because that gave me the opportunity to kind of get to know them more and thank them. And we even got some comments that were like, hey, I've never had another rep do this for me, or, this is the first time someone's come and checked on me. So I feel like that was something small that went a long way.
Well, that's amazing. That's excellent. That's a really good example of, going above and beyond and really caring about, others and showing them that you pay attention and you're being thoughtful.
Sure. Yeah, I think, like I said, they say sales roles. I think the common misconception is everything's so transactional. But I mean, I know I definitely thought that. That's why I didn't want to get into sales at first. But then you realize it's more relationship building and providing service and helping others. And it's not as much dollars and cents as people think.
Yeah, I really think, when you think about sales, it's twofold. Is, you do have to, do some selling, but also, being a part of the community also helps too as well. Can you talk about, just maybe some community initiatives or just different events that you may host throughout the year?
Sure. So I'll talk about something Lennox does on a national level. So we started something called Feel the Love. I want to say late, maybe 2009, 2011. I'll have to double check that. Don't quote me on that. But it's originally started up in Wisconsin, where Lennox would donate the equipment the community would nominate a homeowner in need, whether it's a police officer or a school teacher, or maybe someone that has a disability. And then the contractor would donate their labor. And that has expanded across the US. I think this past year we did over 300 installs for homeowners in the community. So, like I said, Lennox provides free equipment. We partner with our customers to donate their labor, and then the community comes together to help homeowners out. And so I think that's one way Lennox makes a huge impact in giving back to the community and showcasing our great partners and customers that help us in doing that. Um, Other than that, I have a lot of customers in the area that do a lot of food drives and help with um, the animal shelters, and um, we always are looking for ways to give back. And I think that speaks volumes of not only the service we provide in the trades, but the service we're willing to just give back and make people feel good and help them.
Yeah, that's really great initiatives and really great things to have going on to be able to integrate, yourself with the community, with the customers, and to provide that lasting relationship.
Sure, 100%.
And going off of that, can you talk about being able to maybe even thinking about a situation where you had a customer and you think about how far you've come with that customer and just being able to help them provide that value that they needed.
Sure. I'll say in this industry, a lot of people are I would say loyal to certain brands, and maybe they feel like, oh, I was never going to use this specific brand because of XYZ. And um, I feel like I've done a good job being able to provide customer service to prove to people maybe why they should use my brand or why they should invest in me as their rep or partner with me to help their business grow or deliver some kind of service. I'll say we had a really good partner of ours that we had lost kind of during COVID. I think everyone struggled in COVID across probably any and every industry out there. That became a really tough spot to be in, and kind of left a scar on some of our previous customers. I wasn't in this industry during COVID, but I still what's the word, inherited a lot of the maybe the upset or happy customers when you come into a territory. And I there was a customer that I had to meet with after when I first came and said, hey, tell me your pain points, tell me why you left us, tell me what we could have done better and what it would take to run your business. And so a lot of the question you asked was, how did your experience change? A lot of it just started with trust. I think feeling for others, understanding where they're coming from, extending your apology because it's genuine and you mean it, and then saying, hey, this is what I'm going to do to prove why you should trust me and why you should use my service or believe in me as your rep. That's kind of the most, that I guess the biggest example that stood out to me.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And when we really think about fostering those relationships over time and helping them grow, how do you envision the future of customer service evolving even more in the HVAC industry?
Oh, wow. Who knows? I mean, things are getting crazy. I mean, not only in HVAC, but I mean, I think AI is becoming a big thing. I don't want to say I ignored it, but I didn't acknowledge it as much as I did. And, now there's tech support or, customer service, AI answering and stuff, which is a good thing because it allows other people to focus on other things. But I think the service and the HVAC industry is going to become faster. I think there is going to be more resources. I think things are going to be more accessible, and I think it's all things that are going to help both parties, right? The HVAC contractors, but also the manufacturers and distributors as well.
Yeah, I think with AI, is like you said, it's ever evolving, it's ever changing. So it'll be ways to integrate with the customer even more, and to be
Sure.
to just provide even more of an exceptional service.
Yeah, I think I have a lot of customers that are integrating different things right now, and they're loving it and they're learning a lot from it and they're able to come up with solutions or implement things to become better and grow bigger. And so I'm really excited to see where that takes us.
Yeah, I'm excited too, just to, just to see everything that everybody's doing, and everybody has their different approaches and different softwares and tools that you may not even have heard of, and it's just like wow, it's like it's really hard to keep up, but it's a good thing.
Yeah, I agree.
And so wrapping up here, what are your major goals, or what are you looking to accomplish this year?
I think same thing as last year. I know I'm still newer to the industry and still growing, and our industry is going through a lot of changes right now. So I think this year, I just want to focus on providing the support and the service my customers need to get through this year. Because when they win, I win, and I like to say that a lot. But it's true. You know, if my customers are succeeding, that's going to pay me back with success as well. So really just focusing on keeping up with the industry changes, making sure all my customers are succeeding through those changes. And um, yeah, I think that's about it.
Excellent. Well, Grace, we appreciate your time. Thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you. I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, you too. Thanks everyone for listening to this episode. Make sure you tune into the next one. Until next time.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Blueprint Boost for Contractors. We hope you found today's insights and strategies valuable for your contracting business. If you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and please leave us a review. Your feedback helps us bring content that truly matters.